Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. Today, I will be presenting the Sustainability Plan for Gender-Based Violence or GBF. Gender-based violence is a serious social issue that involves a physical, sexual, direct at an individual based on their gender. Women and girls are the group most affected by this program. In Malaysia, various law and policy have been introduced to protect a victim and reduce a case of GBF. Example include the National Policy on Women's and Anti-Sexual Harassment at 2020. The sustainability plans aims to strengthen victim protections, increase public awareness, empower women's leadership, and exchange a collaboration between the government agency and community. The plan is also with the Sustainability Development Goal 5, which is a focus on the achieving a gender equality and violence against women and girls.
To achieve SDG of gender equality towards gender-based violence, Malaysia has implemented National Women Policy (NWP). The idea was amended as Women Development Action Plan (WDAP) in 2009. The early development begins in 1989. The focus of the NWP is to create unity mutual for give a chance to women that has ability to make a decision, participate in public matter, and ensure the protection of women. Therefore, there are a few law and policy was enacted under this order. First, Employment Act 1955, Amendment 2022 Act 265. This act provides the maternity leave, allowance, and termination for the woman pregnancy. Maternity are entitled to be paid was increased from 60 days to 98 days. If the woman pregnancy employee get illness, employer should give a notice terminating the contract. Women also eligible to get allowance in certain condition during his maternity leave. Second, Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022. Act 840. The Act gives protection for women who are threatened with the issue sexual harassment. The complainant can get a compensation claim finished by bringing the complaint to court through tribunal. It ensures the protection of safety, especially for women at public place. I'll present the goal and objective of National Women Policy. The goal and objective of National Women Policy is to empower women and promote gender equality with gender women participation in leadership, economic, social well-being, and security. It because to align with the capacity population in Malaysia to give prioritize the shared interests of men and women. The most important is to ensure equal opportunity and right of women in national development. Also, is to enhance policy implementation and inclusiveness. National Women Policy use gender distributed data, gender responsive budgeting, gender impact assessment, and gender audit to determine strategy by introducing a new idea to change the planning was successful by improve the effectiveness of policy and programs that can support sustainable of gender equality. Furthermore, National Women Policy and Women Development Action Plan enforce as initiative to decrease gender-based violence. Stakeholder identification. Stakeholder was playing pivotal roles towards strategic action plan of National Women Policy. Stakeholder was contribute to achieve the goals with planning the strategy in decision making. They are stakeholder of Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, and several agencies such as Department of Women Development (JPW) and Tribunal Anti-Sexual Harassment (TAGS). The main stakeholder in the strategic action plan is KPWKM is a government body who are responsible to ensure the woman family and community is aligned with the development. The involvement of KPWKM in the National Women Policy as a leader stakeholder was responsible for policy direction and coordination to ensure the implementation of National Women Policy was aligned with the purpose and objective. The first agency is Department of Women Development (JPW). The contribution of the agency JPW in National Women Policy was responsible to implement, monitor, and regulate National Women Policy and Women Development Action Plan as an initiative. They are also to ensure this planning was aligned with the goal and objective are achieved. The stakeholder is Tribunal Anti-Sexual Harassment (TAGS) was covered to enforce the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. TAGS act as a medium handle complainant to the issue sexual harassment to the civil court. According to the provision, TAGS has an important stakeholder in National Women Policy to protect and promote a safe environment for women.
So, I will explain the potential barriers in sustainability plan for gender-based violence. Despite the effort made through this policy, there are still several barriers that may affect its effectiveness in addressing gender-based violence. This challenge needs to be overcome to ensure the objective of the policy can be achieved successfully. First, lack of public awareness. Many people still do not fully understand what gender-based violence is, their legal rights, or where they can seek help. Because of this, victims may delay reporting incidents or accessing support service. Second, fear of relocation. Victims may be afraid of being blamed, judged by society, threatened by perpetrators, of facing problems and works and within their families. This often causes may face to go unreported. Third, social and cultural norms. In some communities, violence against women is viewed as a private family issue. Traditional gender stereotypes can also encourage discrimination and discourage victims from speaking out. Next, I will explain the leadership roles, autonomy mechanism, and accountability. All of these are essential to ensure the effectiveness implementation of the policy and to achieve its intended scope. These elements help ensure that the policy is implemented effectively and achieve its intended outcome. First, leadership roles. Different agencies have different responsibilities. KWKM is and coordinates the implementation of the policy. JPW carry out women's development and awareness program, while TAGS helps victims seek justice in sexual harassment cases. Second, autonomy mechanism. This means each agency has the authority to perform its duties independently within its area of the responsibilities. For example, TAGS can hear and decide sexual harassment complaints, while JPW can plan, implement, and monitor women's development programs. This helps ensure faster and more professional decision making. Lastly, accountability. To ensure the policy is effective, programs must be monitored regularly through policy reports and evaluations. Transparency is also important because it builds public trust.
Next, I will discuss the strength of these action plans. First point, the plans improve a woman's safety and security by strengthening a law, policy, and standard operating procedure. Victims of a gender-based violence can receive better protections, improve the reports, also allow the authorities to respond more efficiently to cases of violence. The second point, the plan increase awareness and prevention effort through a campaigns initiative in a program education. This initiative help the public understand the cause and consequence of a GBF while promoting preventions and early interventions. The third point is plan encourage a community involvement through groups such as Squad Wajah, Rukun Tetangga, Amanita, and Jiranita. Community participation is important because it helps spread awareness, support victims, and encourage a witness to report incidents of violence. The last point is a plan to promote women leadership in participations in decision making by target at least 30% female representations in a leader positions. Women's violence and participation can be represented in the policy making and governance. That's all for me.
Assalamualaikum. For my part, I would like to talk about cons of the action plan. As we can see, there are three main points and I will explain one by one. The first challenge is limited awareness and understanding of GBV. Many people only think physical violence is considered GBV, but emotional abuse, workplace harassment, and controlling behavior are also forms of violence. Because victims may not recognize the behavior as abuse, they often not seek help or report the incident. In addition, many people are not aware of support services such as hotlines, shelters, and legal aid, resulting in low reporting rates. Next, for the second point is cultural and social barriers. In some communities, GBV is still seen as a private family matter that should not be reported to outsiders or the authorities. Victims may not also feel ashamed or fear being judged, which discourages them for speaking up. Furthermore, traditional gender roles that view men as a dominant and women as submissive can normalize abusive behavior and make it more difficult to change society attitudes. And last but not least, is fear of reporting and weak implementation support. The challenge is fear of reporting and weak implementation support. Many victims are afraid of retaliation from the abuser, being judged by society, or not being believed by the authorities. Some are also financially or emotionally dependent on the abuser, making it difficult to leave the situation. In addition, weak law enforcement, poor coordination between agencies and limited support services, especially in rural areas, reduce the effectiveness of national women policy in addressing GBV. That's all from me. Thank you. In conclusion, gender-based violence is still a serious issue that affects many individuals, especially women and girls. Malaysia has taken important steps through the National Women Policy 2025 until 2030, the Women Development Action Plan and related laws to address this problem. However, this effort will be only successful if everyone works together by raising awareness, supporting victims, and ensuring the policies are effectively implemented. Thank you.